You're winning. You're winning. You're winning. Welcome to another episode of Epic Understanding. I'm extremely pleased to have my guest here with me today. He is an international business guru, and what he teaches people is how to build a business that they can sell. And it's not just about working hard. As a matter of fact, it's about working smarter. So without further ado, welcome, Scotty. How are you? Oh, let's get you off mute here. Let's see. There we go.
I was about to say good morning, but it's now lunchtime here in Australia.
Yes. You live near the beach, don't you?
Yep.
It's right out your window.
I can see it from here.
You know what? I appreciate you spending your afternoon with me, and I'm just really excited about what I've learned about your 1357 system. But can you tell us a little bit more about what that means to you?
Yeah. Oh, look. So System 1357. So when I had a pretty successful journey as a startup, and I exited and I retired early, then people started asking me, well, Scotty, how did you do it? And I started, putting everything into techniques and philosophies and systems people could use. And then one day I was riding my bike and I realized that I actually had like a 1, 3, 5, and 7. So I came up with system 1, 3, 5, 7 as a way of explaining it to people so people could implement a system themselves in their business. And that's how it came about. So 1, 3, 5, 7. And the one you looked at the other day and you came and joined a live, that was on the 5 systems of successful people, but there's still 7, 3, and 1 to go in the series. So, but that's basically what it was. And one of the benefits of that coming up with the word system is that when I ask most people, well, what sales system do you follow? Or what leadership system do you follow? Or, what business developer system do you follow? Most people go, well, I don't really follow one. I just turn up and every day I work out what needs to get done. I get in and get it done, which is great. But a system is a way better way of doing it. So that's what I've spent the last 4 years doing now, is creating systems that people can now use in their business. And systems allow you to work smarter, not harder.
I love it. You want to know what? That is why McDonald's has been so successful throughout the years.
You ask a room of 1,000. Ask a room of 1,000 people, who likes McDonald's, and only a few people will really put up their hands. But you say, well, who's ever been to McDonald's? And nearly everyone will put up their hands, right? Because they have the best systems, the way they serve, the way they train their staff, the way they put their franchises out. They have the best systems in the world, no doubt about it.
So there's a way, it's called the McDonaldization of business. Okay. So does that appear anywhere in your book or?
Not in this book, no.
Okay.
But I have a series of courses people can go watch. And in there, I talk about the McDonald's principles and some of the things they do in the way they build their business, So whether it's to do with, do you remember when they used to ask, do you want fries with that? Do you remember that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then they went to small, medium, and large. So that's that part's in my 3x3x3 system when it comes to pricing. So you need your small, medium, and large. You need your, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you also need your short, mid, and long-term clients when it comes to pricing. So I talk about, McDonald's a bit. I love their systems. I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid. So
there you go. Okay. Can you tell me what is just the labels? What is the 1? What is the 3? What is the 5? And what is the 7? What does each one stand for?
I'm glad you asked. So 1 is about people first.
Okay.
Primarily you first. And when you're good, everything else is good. But then it's also about people. And there's 2 sides to System 1357. There's obviously your side and the other people's side. So there's people looking at where you sit in business leadership and sales, and there's also where they sit in business leadership and sales. So there's 2 sides to it. So you've got to look at it from both sides. All right. Always 2 sides to a story. But number 1 is always about people. So you first, then the others. And you're thinking about people. The 3, well, that's the most important layer. So that's what's called conditions, actions, and needs. And what happens there is you need to know your conditions, actions, and needs, and have done that analysis to go forward into the 5 solutions, which is the 5 systems of successful people. And in the 3, that's where you do more listening and you ask lots of questions and you really can get engaged. If you haven't done that, you can't really go into the solutions yet. And these things can happen in microseconds or take months or years to actually continually mature the conditions, actions, and needs. But you could be having a quick interview with someone, and in a few microseconds, you're working out, what's happening, what are they doing, what do they need? Boom, 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 because it becomes part of your DNA. And then we get to the 5, which is the 5 solutions, right? The 5 systems of successful people. And that's your business judo, your time duplication, your business of thirds, the rule of 100, and sugar and cream.
Oh,
and
wait, 7, I got to hear about this sugar and cream. What?
That's what everyone wants to know about. They go, what's sugar and cream then? You're like, oh, I get it. The others I can sort of understand, but sugar and cream. Okay, so sugar and cream is really cool, right? So there's sort of 3 elements to sugar and cream. But the number one thing about sugar and cream, you can imagine the creamy people, right? They're always floating to the top, and which is great. But what tends to happen with the sugar and the cream is that the cream flows to the top and sometimes stop. They lose their burning desire and things like that. So in the book, I write about, remember that elite sports person or someone who was highly academic at school, then after school or after college didn't really achieve their full potential. They got all the accolades, they got all the recognition, and they, for some reason, stopped. And there was another person underneath that wasn't getting that recognition, not getting all that accolade. And they went on and started successful businesses, or they went out and became that top sports person because they stayed sugary, they stayed driven, they stayed wanting to be stirred up. And that's what the essence of sugar and cream is. It's the attitude of staying determined, that grit and determination, and being able to achieve that and turn that on by tap. And that's what all successful people manage to turn on, is that grit and determination. And you need failure for that to happen.
Failure. Oh my God. Let's talk about the ability to bounce back, because I'm finding that is really one of the keys to all successful people. Everyone fails. Everyone fails. If you don't fail, you're probably not doing anything worthwhile. Okay? It's the ability to get up.
Yeah, 100%. And that's that grit and determination, that resilience that's a buzzword now, but it's a real thing, right? So if I go back to business judo, which is the first system of successful people, and the very first habit of business judo is your positive mental attitude.
Okay.
And successful people have the ability not just to have things go wrong and then turn around and turn a negative into a positive. They have the ability to turn a negative into a positive and then a real advantage next, or just let it go and ignore it, right? So in other words, it's not a problem, so I can let it go. Or how do I completely flip this into a positive? How do I completely flip this into a real advantage for today and tomorrow and the future? Because you can't help but things go wrong, but the attitude is the difference between, letting it get to you or letting it go or turning it into that complete advantage. And all successful people have the ability to do that.
So there's 3 choices. Let it get to you, let it go, or turn it into an advantage.
Yeah, well, sort of let it go, turn it into an advantage. Okay. Oh, sorry, turn it into a positive. So let it go, turn it into a positive, turn a negative into a positive, or completely flip the narrative where it completely turns into an advantage.
Oh, wow. All right, because that's different. Just because it's a positive doesn't mean it's an advantage.
Correct.
But when it's an advantage, it supersedes it just being positive.
It's just that next layer. And that's what the successful people have the ability to do. Not just turn negatives into positives. Negatives into positives. They have the ability to turn into an advantage.
You make someone say, "Oh gosh, I wish I had broken my leg."
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. How many times you hear about an athlete who hurt themselves, then through the recovery process got that grit and determination, and they trained more than they ever did before. They really got stuck into what they needed to do. So there was that broken leg or foot, sore back, whatever it was, that completely turned their whole attitude into stronger than it ever was before. It has to come from within, though. It has to come from within. You can't buy that stuff. You have to sit down and go,
absolutely.
I'm not going to take this. I'm going to change this.
This is going to sound funny, but I think kids do that automatically. Like the kid who actually breaks their arm and they come back and everybody's signing their cast, and they're all of a sudden the most popular kid in school, and everyone's interested in the story that happens. And the person who can keep that momentum going has turned this bad situation into a actual advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. And then doing that in business and in real life, well,
Yeah.
for those benefits is what really separates people apart. See, anyone can do things when times are good. We
Yeah.
can all do that. Do you know what I mean? We can all deal with the stuff that comes up every day.
Hmm.
But it's that next level, that extra 1% of completely flipping the narrative of what goes wrong into advantages.
So I've given a rudimentary example from when we were kids. Can you give me a true business example to where not only did you make the situation positive, but you turned it into an advantage?
I sure can. I can give lots of them. But I'll talk about one from the book.
Okay.
So in the 5 systems of successful people. So in here, I had a situation, and I had a situation way back in 2005, 2006, where I had no money. The company had no money. I didn't have enough money to pay wages that week.
Mm.
So what I did was I could have got negative and just went, oh no, or gone and borrowed some money, flipped it around from negative into a positive. But no. I went, I need to completely reinvent the way the business works. So I
Mm.
created, from that day onwards, that Monday, I broke away and I created a bonus system for the company for all the staff. So all the staff would then get benefits of what they did as far as their effort went. So it became almost like a business within the business. So a real opportunity for them to be able to go the extra mile, get paid what they were worth. But it was all hinging around clients paying. So if clients paid, they got paid bonuses based on their effort and their rewards, and not hours they do, but just based on revenues, right? Pretty simple system. And I
Mhm.
explained it a lot more in the book, but that completely changed the business from that day onwards. So I
I'm
never had trouble getting client money anymore because the staff followed the system because they got rewarded from the system.
Wow, wow. I'd like to just dig a little bit deeper to get a few more details about it. Did you tell the staff if they collected the money within a certain amount of days, or how did it
No.
work?
So we already had the system that, now let's go back to the simple stuff of website design. So we had 50% deposit, and when the website went live, they had to pay the other 50%. Now that system already existed. It was there the whole
Okay.
time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, staff weren't that strict on that system. See, because it didn't really
Yeah.
matter. The client needed it live. They said they'd pay later. So they'd just put the site live. And all of a sudden, I'm the one chasing the money.
I see. I see.
I'm left with, hang on a second. How come you didn't follow the system? Oh, but the client needed it. Okay. Well, if the client needs it, they can pay today for it. It's a pretty
Okay.
simple system. And once they got, that little anchor, that little reason to say to the client, okay, I'll put the site live. Just here's your credit card details and we'll get it live.
Okay.
It was just that one paradigm shift for them to go, okay, it's important now for me because when he does pay, I get a bonus.
Wow. Wow. And did it make a difference? How much the bonus? I mean, did everybody get the same amount, or did they have to do something different to get a little bit more?
Yeah, so everyone got a similar amount. So for website design, as an easy example, that department was easy to measure because of the fact that, they had an hourly rate they billed out, or
Hmm.
websites were worth X amount. They got a percentage of what they did as
Okay.
billables for the month. So that was
I,
easy. And then when sales came in the business, everyone got a share of that as an equal sort of share as well. So that got paid
okay.
out as bonuses because we wanted to retain clients when they came on board. Oh, the
Okay.
client wants something difficult. We'll sort it out. Let's turn what the client wants into what they really want, so we can keep this client and retain that client. So everyone in the business had a reason to stay involved in the business success.
Mm, very interesting. I like that. I like
Business
that.
judo. How do you turn disadvantages and into real positives and real advantages for you and everyone else around you?
Okay. Okay. I like that a lot. Let's move towards the digging into more of the five, because that's just one aspect of the five. Can you give me another example from the five?
Well, sugar and cream is the 5th one. So I gave
Okay.
that example to you and that stuff like that. That's the most interesting one. Most people want to know what's sugar and cream. It turns
What's
out
the first name?
The most popular one is time duplication.
Okay.
And that's the one thing every single successful person understands. So they
Okay.
duplicate themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they duplicate their products,
Okay.
they duplicate their money. Now,
Okay.
very few people get to achieve all three to its full potential, right? Duplicating themselves, so they're having a big team, duplicating their products, do something once where it keeps on being sold and,
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And obviously, where they make more money when they're asleep than when they're awake.
Mm.
Very few people get to achieve all three, but all successful people understand and implement all three. And then it's just a matter of scale towards your goal, how much you want to achieve, how successful you want to be. So, and some people get to achieve one, but if you can achieve all three of those in line with all your goals
Mm-hmm.
and your definition of success, well, then time duplication is one of the systems for it. It's the one thing every successful person understands. So they duplicate themselves, their
Uh-huh.
product, and their money.
Got it. So we have sugar and cream. We have duplication. We have turning a disadvantage into
That's
an
business
advantage.
judo. Yep.
Business judo.
Yep.
Okay. With two more. We have two more.
Yep. So the business of thirds, that's about your success and strike rate and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So basically, if you imagine like a block of thirds, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's always the positive third, there's always a negative third. Now, I typically draw this long way. So that at the top, there's a top third that's positive, and the bottom's a negative third. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle is a middle third. So there's always wins in business. You're always going to get the people who know, like, and trust you, relate to you, and do business with you, right? Or products
Okay.
that'll work and things like that. And then down the bottom, there's the ones that just won't work. They just don't work. People don't like it. People don't trust it. People aren't interested in it, whatever it is.
Okay.
But all the success in business, whether it be sales or sport or whatever, it always comes from the middle third, the potential third. That's the opportunities that can go either way, depending on how you look after that middle third. So
Okay.
don't get the false positives, which is the easy wins, and don't get the false negatives, which are your easy goes, your easy comes, your easy goes. It's the business in the middle. Successful people have the ability to tap into their middle third. In fact, when you read the book, you'll understand it's more about 60% of opportunity. They have the ability not just to tap into the easy comes, but that full 60%. And when you think about it, it's almost doubling your business, if not more, just by tapping into that extra third. That's what successful people do.
Wow. So is there a specific behavior or thing that people should be doing in order to tap into that third?
Well, I guess it's just a matter of analyzing your business. It's sitting down and analyzing, going, okay, well, this is what we're doing. And I give some good examples in the book, about how, say, restaurants use the business of thirds to attract people into their business. Instead of just waiting for people to come, they actually put people out the front and say, hey,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
restaurant's really good. Those people standing at the front spruiking the business. So they do it, so that's how they're trying to tap into their extra third as well. But, it's up to each business to work out how to do that. That's why we have
Mhm.
retail. People at the front saying, this is good, that's good, this is good, that's good. Instead of just walking in the shop, looking around going, well, I'm not sure what I want, I'm going to leave. They put salespeople in there to try and seal a deal. That's what
I
they're
got
for.
it. So making a simple suggestion.
Yeah, it's just understanding. So to do it in your business, there's the easy comes, the easy goes. Most people focus on those two. But what about the people in the middle? Just need a bit more information or a bit more knowledge or a bit more support, a bit more hand holding. That could go either way, depending on how you actually deal with them in the middle. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
that's where successful people tap into. And the other one that you missed was the rule of 100.
Ooh.
So the rule of 100 is about the checkpoints. Okay, so what
Okay.
system do most people use for checkpoints to either count down or count up? So let's go the count up. So basically, you're talking about the first 100 seconds,
Mm.
the first 100 minutes,
Okay.
the first 100 hours, the first 100 days, first 100 weeks, and first 100 months. And
Hmm.
every single transaction goes through these checkpoints. Every client you have, that initial real busy stage where it's the first 100 seconds, the first 100 minutes, the first 100 hours, then things
Right.
start to settle down. You've got 100 days now. It's about 3 or 4 months, right? Then you've got
Right.
100 weeks. It's about 2 years. And as you get past each checkpoint, whether that be staff, whether it be product, whether it be clients, as they go through these checkpoints, they stay to the next checkpoint. And you can use the rule of 100 in your marketing. You can use it in your, like, for goal setting. Okay, Well, Olympic athletes do it all the time. There's a countdown process, and it gets closer and closer and closer.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, it's now. So
Mm-hmm.
what their preparation for 100 days out, their preparation for 100 hours out, their preparation for 100 minutes out,
Mm-hmm.
preparation for 100 seconds out, and then now they start. So
what's something that you might do for a seasoned client, someone that's been with you a long time, to make them feel appreciated and honored?
So what I had was a system called PDIs, and that was, and once again, it's in the book, so it's all
Okay.
there. So
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a system for PDIs, which was personal development interviews. I would make sure I caught up with clients at those scheduled checkpoints. If not me, someone from the company would reach out and say, how's it going? Now, we had a better system for it than that, but that's essentially it. Making
Okay.
sure we're staying in touch with clients and keeping them in our cold, warm, and hot zones. We're keeping them in the warm and hot zones. We don't want them to go cold. So when you understand the zones, and we'd always be constantly talking to them. So we knew that there was points coming up where they were vulnerable. So after a client had been with us for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
they start to think, oh, is there someone else out there? Is there anything else out there? And once a
Right.
client's been with us for about that 7 or 8 years, the 100-month mark, they're doing the same thing. See? But if I get them through the 2 years and they're with a client for, say, 3 years or more, I know they're over that step. They're loyal. They're going to hang around for a lot longer. And it's not like Cinderella. It's not like at the stroke of midnight at 100 weeks. It's not that accurate. So at 18 months out to 2.5 years, there's this vulnerable spot.
Okay.
Where people, look at all the people who change jobs after give or take 2 years.
Right. Right.
Look at marriage. What do they call it in marriage? A 7-year itch.
Yeah, the 7-year itch.
That's the 100-month mark. It happens, right? It happens to clients. It happens to customers. It happens to products. How often do they change cars? They don't want cars to get stale, right? So if they've got a model out for 7 or so years, it's starting to get old. They need a new model. They need a new model. They need a new model. So that's some real life examples. So in other words, so the good thing is business judo and time duplication do take some work. You've got to think about what you're doing. The rule of 100 and the business of thirds just exist. You just got to just put them there. You know how they are. They're there. And the sugar and cream's an attitude.
I got it. I love it. I love it. I want to talk with you about some of these things I'm seeing here. Let's start at the top. You see the things that are in.
Yep.
Okay. And let's start at the top. Tell me about this icon.
The one at the top with the head?
Yes, the one at the top with the head. Yes.
That's a foundation layer. So that's the 4 levels of the human mind.
Okay.
So that's and that goes into your 3 in system 1357. So that's your conditions, actions, needs. So when you think about the 4 levels of human mind, it's closed, open, confident, and belief. So that could be within themselves. That could be within you. It could be within products. It could be within all sorts of things. Okay. So closed, open, and confident belief. It's a foundation layer of thinking about conditions, actions, needs. So when you look at, what's happening, what are they doing and what they need? So in other words, are they closed? Are they open? Are they confident? Are they belief? Or am I closed, confident, open, belief? You can't sell something to someone who's closed-minded. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Very interesting.
So it's a foundation layer to just about everything. Closed, open, confident, belief. And easy to remember. It's 4 things. Simple.
And so every partnership or every sales strategy, would you say it goes through that?
Oh, 100%. Everything goes through it. Whether it be sales, it could be business, it could be careers, it could be all sorts of things. So I used the 7-year itch before. When they got married, they were right at the top level. They were believing they were going to be married forever. When they got the 7-year itch and divorced each other, where were they? They were back at closed, or at least one side was. So people go through that journey. If you go back to the dating scene, at one stage they were open, they started dating, then they started being confident with each other, and they got to the belief level and got married. And then unfortunately, with the 4 levels of the human mind, it tends to go down in one big jump. It goes up in stages, but goes down in one big jump. So
I see. Now,
there's a lot to learn about that one, but not really. It's really simple to understand.
I can see. It sounds like something that's very simple, but not very easy.
Well, yeah, you've got to make it so that way you can recognize it really fast. So once it becomes part of your DNA, you can go, okay, this person's open, or this person's confident, or this person's a believer in whatever that situation is. And once again, when you get it into your DNA to be able to do a can analysis and go conditions, actions, needs, is this person closed, open, and confident, or belief? It just happens automatically. So you don't have
Mm.
to think too hard. The
Right.
hardest
So,
is making it part of your DNA,
got it. It's just simply a way of thinking,
analyzing.
analyzing and assessing the situation.
You got it.
Um, and what is the name of this second icon?
The circle, that's your
Yeah.
business cycle. So every single transaction goes through this business cycle in business, if you like. So you've got your leads, you've got your introduction,
Mm-hmm.
you've got your presentation, you've got your close, you've got your
Mm-hmm.
follow up, and you've got your marketing. That happens in every single business, and it's a cycle. There's no beginning or ending point to it. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
cycle. So in other words, it's around those 6 things. You do all your activities, and hopefully in the middle, you end up with your clients.
I see.
So,
see.
if you get, and most people are good at one half, they're good at either talking or they're good at hiding behind the scenes and doing all their marketing and follow ups and emails. So there's sort of, most people are good at only one half. Like for myself, I wasn't as good at closing as I probably should have been because I got to deliver great presentations and people would say yes. So I didn't have to close people.
Got it. Got it. Got
Does that
it.
make sense? So you wouldn't have to do
Absolutely,
a lot of
because
marketing.
people close themselves for you. You just sold, and then they said, "I want it."
I won it. I go, okay. So I don't have to be a hard closer, but I
Mm-hmm.
understood closing. I understood the art of not overselling. I understood the art of listening for when they bought. So I didn't have to close. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be saying, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it.
Mm.
I still wanted a
So
deal though.
there you go. So maybe you are a good closer. You just encourage them to auto close.
Well, one of the things I teach is we create an environment for people to buy in. We don't actually sell. And if you get really good at creating that environment for
Mm-hmm.
people to buy in, guess what
Mm-hmm.
they do?
They buy.
They buy. There's
They
just
buy.
more chance. There's more chance of them doing it. Yeah. And if you go back to that business of thirds model, that's what you do in the middle third. You create an environment, whether that be
Mm.
leadership, whether it be sales or business, you create an environment.
Have you known a hard closer, like someone who,
Oh, yeah. You see them. You see them
Oh,
around.
okay.
Like you go somewhere like a car yard, or you go somewhere like a caravan yard, you go somewhere like they start barraging you and you go, well, hang on a minute. I haven't even said I'm interested yet. And they're starting to go, do you want one? Basically, straight off
Mm-hmm.
the top, you think, well, hang on a minute. Yeah.
So does that style even work? Does it really work, you think?
I guess it does, because it's more churn and burn, throw enough against the wall and some of it will stick. There's that sort of
Mm.
mentality. I don't think it works long term because I never wanted a sale anyway. I only wanted clients or customers. So for me,
Okay.
it wasn't about creating sales. It was about creating clients at all times. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why my preference isn't to close people, although you do need to take a transition from presentation to close. In other words, now we're no longer doing the sale, we're now doing the customer journey. And you need
Mm-hmm.
that line in the sand. That's called the close. It
Mm.
actually has to happen. As one tip, for example, the moment someone says yes, you have to acknowledge it. You have to recognize them, say thank you, well done. And their whole personality and demeanor, they just relax. They go, oh, I've said yes, I'm happy now. And they smile and they go on a
Oh,
transition themselves. They've gone from being, someone that's being sold to someone that's getting looked after as a customer. And it only
oh,
takes 10 or 20 seconds.
mm-hmm. I like it. And so it's a matter of trust and relationship at that point.
Yeah. So everything's changed. They've now found something they want and you believe you can deliver it. Let's say, well done, thanks, welcome to the team, shake their hand, get them to sign whatever it is and deliver it.
We're in it together, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
like it. All right. We have a couple of more. I'm very interested in this pyramid.
Well, that's the actual system 1357. So that was the first version of it. And it hasn't really changed, except I had a system 1357 for, clients, for sales. I had a system so in the end, I've simplified it over the last 2 years into what it's now known as today. So that first pyramid, if you like, which I call it a triangle. So
I
that
see.
triangle is the 1, 3, 5, and 7. So that's it there. Like I said, I actually had 3 different spin-offs of it, which were more or
Okay.
less the same. And I've now simplified it down into just the one system. which I can extend upon for whatever's needed. So if someone needed more help with sales or leadership or business, well, then I can sort of tailor those answers around that for their system.
Well,
So
that
you're
makes
actually looking at the system 1357 there, wrapped around a
well,
perfect equilateral triangle.
okay. Okay. That makes sense. And then what is this bottom icon? What is that there?
The bottom one is your cold, warm, and hot zone. So it's a little bit like the business cycle. In fact, in that example you've got there, I've overlaid the two. So if you
Okay.
take out the text on all that, you've got a cold zone, you've got a warm zone, you've got a hot zone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is essentially, you know, a lot of people spend time in their cold zone trying to do marketing, trying to generate business, trying to generate leads, and
Mm-hmm.
chasing those people in the cold zone. Then there's the warm zone, which is all the people that are, you know, in the middle. They, you know, they're being marketed to, or they've come into the shop. They're clients or ex-clients. There's those sort of people. And your hot zone are people, you know, sort of people that are clients.
I
But
see.
also there's zones within zones.
Zones within zones. Tell me about that.
So one example I give is like a car yard. So
Okay.
cold zone is someone who's not anywhere near the car yard.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So not interested in buying a car right now, not even thinking about it right now. Warm zone would be someone who's maybe interacting with them a little bit, and a hot zone would be the car yard itself.
Okay.
All right, now let's go to the cold, warm, and hot zone in the car yard.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So where's the cold zone in the car yard? The yard itself. Where's the warm zone? Inside the actual showroom, or, you know, when you're actually in conversation with them, you're now in a warm zone.
Okay.
And the hot zone, I bet you can answer this. Where's the hot zone?
When they got their checkbook out, I suppose.
Well, you're on the right track. When they're sitting at the desk or in the car test driving.
I see.
They're the hot zones now. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yes.
So where's the business happen? When we sit down at the desk and we negotiate the deal. So even within the zone, cold, warm, and hot, you can have zones within the zones. So when you understand where people are, you know what I mean? So in other words, if I was the car salesperson, I'm out the front. I can't start closing someone until they're in the hot zone, until we're in a car test driving it, or they're sitting at the desk negotiating. If I start talking about all the closing things, for example, well, then that's not going to work if they're not in that hot zone. Now, if I use it for leadership as the same sort of example, now where's the cold, warm, and hot zone inside a business? Well, every business has cold, warm, and hot zones for either that person or you yourself as the business owner. You know, so where they're comfortable to have their conversations, where they're not comfortable to have their conversations, you know. So if you're going to have a personal development interview, you need to know where the zones are in your business that makes everyone comfortable.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I am curious about your coaching and mentoring program. I mean, obviously you are international. You're not just in Australia. How are people finding you from other countries?
Just LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah.
Just LinkedIn. And look, you know, one of the mistakes I made. So when I had the journey of Renet, you know, I did all this for real estate agents and domestically in Australia and New Zealand. So I was always teaching and training and mentoring real estate agents how to be better themselves, how to sell more, how to build their businesses. And it was good fun. But I never planned on leaving the company I sold. But when I actually sold it twice. So it sold it in 2015 and once again in 2018. But the 18
twice. How did that work?
Well, because I stayed on within the company as the CEO.
Oh,
But I didn't own it anymore. And then I got a big bonus when we sold it the second time. Although I tried to buy it back, but that's a long story. I won't get into that. So I tried to buy it back. That didn't happen. Someone else bought it, which was a group of investors. And that's where I fell down and went, oh, I'm not a very good employee. I can't work for these guys. So I didn't simply retire. I said, oh, I've had enough. I'm out. What I didn't do was have all this documentation, all this history. I didn't have all this compiled together. So what I've now spent the last 4 years doing is creating all this that people can now buy and learn. What did I do? Because everyone said, well, what did you do? So now I'm actually compiling it all. I spent 4 years in the making getting all this together. So, you know, I didn't have a big profile as, say, a speaker or an author because I wasn't planning on ever doing this other than within the industry I was in, which was the real estate industry, Australia, New Zealand. And now,
well, you do now. You've made quite a name for yourself, wouldn't you say?
That's it. So now it's, you know, it's out there. People from all industries can do it, you know. And when you talked earlier about how do I implement this in my business, well, it wouldn't matter whether you had a restaurant, whether you're a car detailer, a builder, manufacturer, you can implement these systems in any business. So I don't specifically talk about it in any way, shape, or form for that business. When I was in the real estate industry, I used it for the real estate industry. I taught them that, as a simple example, we go back to the business of thirds.
Okay.
The ReNet software. So what I taught real estate agents was they're going to find people that are going to want to sell or buy with them all the time. They're going to find lots of people who won't want to buy with them all the time. Well, the ReNet software tapped into their middle third for them. The CRM, the email reminders, the alerts. That's the middle third that keeps people in their warm zone, even if they're not ready to do business now. And that's what ReNet did, was it allowed them to tap into that middle zone.
I like it. I like it. So I know that they can find you on LinkedIn. You also have a website, right? What's your website?
Well, I've got two, obviously. I've got ScottySchindler.com.
Yeah.
And I've also got System1357.com, which is free to join. And you can go in there and watch some videos and learn some things. It's free. Or you can buy a book.
Awesome. Do you think, may you please put that link where they can get the videos? Can you put that into the private chat and I'll drop it in the chat for them?
Yep. You want to do that right now?
Yes, please. Please go ahead and do that. And then I would be interested in talking about your other book because, the 5 is only one of your books. You have a book, it's called Creating a Business You Can Sell. Let's talk about that. And the link, guys, that I'm dropping, it is a place where you can get free $1 million training.
Well, I've helped a lot of $1 million people turn into $1 million salespeople. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, I guess that's my point. So many times there are people trying to, as a matter of fact, I get emails all the time of people trying to sell training. This is training that you can get for free that actually works. All you have to do is go to the website, sign up, and take a look.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, you can give me some money. It's fine.
Scotty's accepting your money, but you don't have to pay. So there you go.
No, there's lots on there. There's lots of free resources in there. I do that as a way of giving back. So, I've had a really good journey. I don't need to get paid from everybody. Well, surprisingly enough, a lot of people, they say, look, okay, I know I can watch the videos, but look, can I spend an hour or two with you and pay instead? Just give me what I need now. I don't want to have to go through 200 videos to find the one thing I need. So I'm happy to do that. But this book here, just so you know, I co-authored this one with Lana. And Lana was actually the first person that ever asked me about 3 years ago to buy my books. And I went, well, I haven't written any yet. Anyway, so one day she wrote to me. She was actually a business investor. She's now since retired, right? So, and she had like $100 million a year in budget to go and buy businesses. But the reality was most people didn't have businesses they could sell.
I see.
So out of 1,000 people that they come across every year to buy businesses, they only bought like 10 or 15 businesses. That was it. Most people have got jobs that are businesses, not really businesses that someone could take over and buy and acquire and turn into bigger businesses. So she came to me one day with a document that was 17 pages long. She said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, you've almost got a book." And anyway, next thing you know, we're writing a book together.
That's quite lovely. Can you tell me what is the major difference? What are some major differences between a business that's actually a job and a business that you can sell?
All right. So if you stopped working your business tomorrow, how long would it last?
I understand. If you are the engine itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's not sellable, but typically that's what investors and people who are buying businesses want. So, because then it's a business, it's a system they're buying, it's a money-making machine they can turn into something more or put it into their own businesses or whatever. You can buy another job. This doesn't mean the business isn't sellable. It's just not suitable for an investor. So if you want the maximum return, you have a business that you can make the most money out of while you're there, and it can make money while you're not. That's how you get the most return on your business. I mean, if I was a tradesperson and I sold my plumbing business to another plumber, well, that's okay. They get my book and they get some of the repetitive clients, and there's not a lot of value in that because, like he could have just gone and started his own plumbing business. But if it was a business that had a team of 10 and 20 people and they had these contracts and they had these things in place, it's got value.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's like Shark Tank 101.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean, look, there's nothing wrong with having a business that's yours and it's not
Okay.
sellable. There's nothing wrong with that because, when you go to the time duplication, it's only the money making machine. You can still
Mhm.
duplicate your money, put money into more money that makes more money.
I like it. I like it. As we come to a close here, I'm always interested in like what is the one question that people fail to ask you that you wish people would, you know?
Oh, gee. I don't know if there's one that I wish they'd ask me. I don't really have one of them. I tell you what I do like talking about, though, is my surfing.
Oh, really? What's so great about your surfing?
Oh, nothing. It's just my passion.
Really?
Without
Okay.
surfing, I wouldn't have any sanity. And surfing brings me sanity. When I'm in the ocean, it's like meditation for me. And,
Mm,
I get out there and I think of all sorts of ideas. So that's where I love talking about surfing when I can. It's like business. You get the same success rate, you get the same challenges, you get the same effort you got to do if you want to get the rewards. You know,
mhm.
it's just,
Have
I didn't
you
make any
become
living out of surfing. That was all.
There you go. Have you started to make money from surfing?
I have been paid from some winnings, yeah, and I still get to this day free clothes and equipment supplied to me. So I'm pretty lucky that I'm pretty good at it.
I think so. I think so. I can say I'm really not surprised that you're making money from something that you enjoy.
Well, even so, because it's still a business or a part of the businesses that I have, it works out as a very good tax deduction as well.
You're kidding me.
So as a brand, my surfing is an important part of the brand, and I'm
Okay.
on it. I'm on teams, so I attend things, and so it's
Wait, so
business judo, leverage.
you managed to get tax deduction from surfing? That is business judo.
It's perfect business judo, but it's also true. I mean, I'm going away this weekend competing at the New South Wales state titles. Why
Okay.
do I still do that now that I'm 51? It's because it's business for me, and I have a brand. And when I win this weekend, I'm hoping anyway. So when I when I
There
do
you
all right
go.
at that, it becomes part of my brand. And when I stand up on stage talking to people, it's a part of that identity. So
Okay. Wow. I wonder if that tax deduction works in America.
not sure, but I guess if it's your business. I don't know how business tax deductions work in America, but if it's business, if you have to pay tax on it, or you're making money out of what you're doing, well, then I guess you get both sides, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's worth asking a tax accountant about that particular concern. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not giving financial advice here or tax advice, but I do get paid to do surf coaching too. So it's all part of the whole ecosystem of surfing for me. So
You, you know what? You've managed to just become a money machine.
shh.
Oh my gosh, I am absolutely thrilled that you spent time with us here at Epic Understanding, Scotty.
Can I give you one last thing? I do
Absolutely.
talk. I do talk to people about having multiple streams of income. You
Hmm.
have to have multiple streams of income, and that includes within the business of
Okay.
whatever business you're in or career you're in, and as well as outside of that career. Surfing for me is just another stream of income. And
Mhm.
another streams of income are the obvious ones like shares or property. But having multiple streams of income that don't consume all your time, of course, they've got to be smart incomes, is
Mhm.
essential to every business. And surfing for me is just one of those little tentacles that I have going out that
Mhm.
does actually give me some rewards. So yeah, multiple streams of income. It's one of the things all successful people do.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, because you're retired now. So you say.
Well, people go, "You're not retired. You're still doing things like writing books." But compared to owning a company, this is pretty
Mhm.
relaxing.
How many hours a day do you think you spend working? Not
Oh,
counting
well,
surfing.
here's my typical routine. So I sleep into 7:30. I have a cup of coffee about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I go surfing, and I go till about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I come home, have a bit of breakfast, and then I'll do a few emails, a little bit of social media. Sometimes I'll do social media first thing, but while I'm having my coffee, which is why people can see a consistent sort of routine.
Okay.
I'm always morning my time or lunchtime my time. I'm on social media, and in the afternoon I'll do a few things, and I'll do a few things involving around my investments and things like that I still need to manage because they don't
Uh-huh.
manage themselves. And yeah, I'll take time out to do books or write courses or go become guests on shows. So
Yeah,
that's my typical day. And then, 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm finished. And, yeah, it's pretty casual, right? I mean, it's not compared to working with your own company where it was like 60 hours a week and it was just go. And there was if I was awake, I was working. This is pretty
I
relaxed.
got it. I have to agree. I have to agree. I hope that we get to have you back, and you've been speaking quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Well, people want to know, well, how did I do it? And I now have the way of telling people what they can do. Here's
Hmm.
what you can do. If you don't have a system, here's a system you can use. Use this system. 1, people first. 3, conditions, actions, needs. The 5 systems of successful people, and the 7 ways to manage time. Here's a system for you, for your leadership, your sales, and your business.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Scotty, for spending time with us here at Epic Understanding. You've certainly brought in our minds, and maybe we can take surfing off of our taxes like you. Anyway,
Well, if it's a business,
as long as it's a
as
business.
long as it's a business, it's got to be legitimate. You can't just make stuff up.
Exactly. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
See you, everyone.
You're winning.